Sir, I am Om. I'm sub-editor at TimesTech, and TimesTech is a B2B tech magazine and a web portal. If you are comfortable now, we can start with the
Perfect. We can get this started.
Yes. So, sir, as far as I know, collaborative robots are basically robots which work with humans. So we have seen isolated robots in the paint shops of the car manufacturers and doing various other work, but they were isolated from the main assembly line. So, sir, why the need of collaborative robots started and how they are structurally different from the isolated robots?
I think that's a very important question, Om. You're actually bringing the focus towards why collaborative automation, just not robots, but collaborative automation as such is of keen interest and of priority to this industry today. You specifically picked on one particular application called painting. Now, painting as such, if you see from a car body standpoint, is an application which will not really involve human beings to be very close to it. Of course, it's natural that when a paint is being done on a car, you don't want someone to be around. Now, that is applications wherein you need a secluded space. You don't need human intervention. You don't need human intelligence at all. But consider an application like an engine block assembly or a gear assembly, or let's say anything which involves a vision, some human intelligence, and a repetitive job of a robot. So what generally robots do is take care of repeated tasks, right? If there is any job, like we say it, dumb, dirty, dangerous. Anything which is dumb, anything which is dirty, anything which is dangerous can be automated, right? Now, what we bring on board is something to say that why don't you look at a collaborative robot, not like an external tool, but an assistive tool. It's more like a tool that can help you bring more of your efficiency. It's going to be next to you. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to pin you to the wall. But then it's going to be next to you as an assistant, as a third arm, to do some jobs more precise, because it's going to do what is taught repeatedly on and on and on. But the human intelligence is required to program it, run it, maintain it. So a combination of both, the human intelligence combined with robotic repeatability, brings much more efficiency into manufacturers of today, factories of today, making them future ready. So let's say in 10 years from today, this will be more like a laptop, which you and I probably get in our colleges, right? So this will be something which will be so common in tomorrow's factories. So collaborative robots as such is a technology coming from universal robots, wherein the combination of human robot intelligence, robot combination is working together to drive better efficiency in your manufacturing.
So, sir, my next question is, what are the key features that universal robots provide to its customers?
So, as a key feature, I think universal robots is generally built around one vision. Let's build a world wherein people work with robots and not like robots. Now, when that itself is built, so if you go back to that line, it's about how people work with robots and not like robots. The reason for that is it's largely in your question. What is a key feature for it? The key feature is when you bring in a technology of that kind, it has to be simple, it's easy to integrate, it's plug and play. Anyone should be able to do it. It's almost like a smartphone. If you and I get a smartphone today, we'll be able to program it in such easy ways. And anyone in this generation is able to play around with a smartphone, which exactly is where universal robots fits in. We enable automation to be accessible to all. So it's a simple tool. It's extremely easy to do. The simplest of the jobs, which reiterating the dumb, dirty, dangerous jobs, which can be simply automated in no time. In short time intervals, you're able to bring in automation to your factories, make it future ready. So your key feature largely would be revolving around easy to integrate, plug and play, simple use of electricity. A single phase power is able to plug and play this. So these are key necessities, because when you take the industries where it goes into, I'm sure that is probably one of your questions also. Where does it fit in? Manufacturers of today, which is our friends in the market, which is an MSME or an SME or a larger enterprise today, are revolving around an automobile, electronics, F&B, FMCG. All these factories do need automation, if not today, someday. And when they get to it, how can universal robots make that transition much easier, more adaptable for them? That's where we feel such technologies like this are really helpful. Just bring in automation to the next level.
Yes. So, sir, there are a lot of modern technologies coming, like 5G is coming in next few months in India. So there is AI and ML. So how Universal Robot is taking advantages of these technologies to provide a better and good product to its customers?
I think it's a very good, again, a very important question coming into consideration what the future holds good for the country and its manufacturing. Globally, we just saw what 67% of the companies are shifting towards AI, robotics, AI, ML, all of these technologies coming into blockchain. All of these started to speak a lot, make a lot of noise in the market in a positive way. What is this driving towards? People are thinking of automating things. People are thinking of just not human intelligence. You need robotic intelligence or artificial intelligence and all of these parameters which are better in decision making, making logical decisions, etc. Now, where does robots come into picture? Robots is a tool which is designed to do something repeated. AI is a tool which has much more aspects to it, just not from a repeated standpoint, because AI is not going to do a job, but then it's driven around a problem solving mechanism. Is it reasoning? It could be about planning. It could be about learning, visualization, perception, language. All of these are built around AI, which is then translated to ML, where the machine is able to learn these and replicate what is taught. So this is a beautiful connection wherein AI, ML, and robots can work together in order to solve a larger cause. Now, what we do in UR is design a tool, a robot, which is absolutely open to incorporate all these technologies. AI can be plugged into our robot, making it AI enabled. And we can plug, teach applications to these robots and allow them to learn and work along with machines. Now, these are technologies which is again driven around data. The more I get data, the more I will be able to produce, raise the productivity of that system. So these are tools where we strongly feel a combination of robotics, AI, and ML is the future, wherein cobots, collaborative robots, using the human intelligence right next to it like a brain, will have much more impact versus just a robot. Like the first statement you made, a secluded robot or a sideline machine. Yeah.
So, sir, as we were talking about AI, so yesterday I was reading in newspaper that US has asked these companies to not to supply AI chips to China or get a trade license from Commerce Department before supplying those chips to China. So you must be using those chips in your robots. So how these things are impacting your supply chain? If you could tell something about it to us.
So it's a very vast topic when you come from a supply chain standpoint. Of course, when the global market is, facing these challenges, we are no exception. We also go through such challenges. However, when we have our own production lines in Denmark, our manufacturing is based out of Denmark in a place called Odense. We are still in a better position when it comes to these. We've tackled it in the right way, using the right mechanisms. Our forecast was better on this time. So we managed to do a pretty decent job to keep our production and supply chain solid, which means to say that we still continue to manage and supply robots within a timeline of close to 4 weeks. So 4 weeks from we are able to usually deliver these robots, which is where we feel that in spite of all the challenges of supply chain, we've managed to do a good job on this.
Yes, sir. So coming back to cobots, sir, you have given many example of many application of cobots. So if you could tell us more about how it is transforming manufacturing sector.
So if you see a global perspective, there's something called technology maturity, right? Automation maturity or technology. You see a lot of it starting from the European markets or the Japanese markets, etc., where technology starts to grow. and then it slowly passes to the rest of the world, and then the adoption. India is no different. India also has a strong share of this happening, which is where we are today noticing different schemes coming from the government, like the PLM scheme and all these parameters to boost manufacturing in India. Now, coming to your question, what is our contribution? We see a lot of this happening in India because manufacturing is shifting towards India. A lot of manufacturing coming into India from electronics, chip manufacturers are starting in India. Automotive supply is happening largely from India. So all of these are a factor why we should have such strong presence in India for us to deliver to the customers in India. The different applications, what we generally are called for is the automotive belt, which usually absorbs a lot of robots and automation requirement, followed by the basic necessity for all of us, which is the food and beverage industry. So, and followed by the FMCG industry. So these three segments largely draw to a lot of absorption of collaborative robots. There's a new vertical coming around IT services. So a lot of software companies in India are leveraging on automation and robots to do a lot of their AI and ML-based applications. But one of the key domains which we also see as a significant spike is in the university space. Today, students will want to see future technologies coming into their education stream, and we are also seeing a lot of them being incorporated by many top-class universities that we will need this as a part of our curriculum. So these are the 4 or 5 verticals where we see significant absorption of collaborative robots, and the applications are also.
Yes. So, sir, like 40% of Indian manufacturing happens in MSME sector. So,
Correct.
how cobots can be a game changer for those industries?
Cobots are definitely a game changer for the MSME segment, because today, what happens to MSME is it's an aspirational jump to be playing with the league of the big guys, right? There's big manufacturers in this in the same domain, which could be manufacturing as exactly the same products as what an MSME is doing. So now, when a larger player is in the same market, MSMEs are able to adopt low cost of ownership tools like cobots, collaborative robots, and up their game to be in the same level playing field. So an MSME, if I was running an MSME, for me, a cobot is a low cost of ownership tool. I don't have much of maintenance on it. I don't have to service them. The integration speed is extremely fast, which technically is to say, when I go back to a traditional automation, I might take about 6 months to plug in a robot and run it. Wherein a collaborative robot can be plugged in within half a day's time or a day's time. So what happened to you and me as an owner of an MSME is we have brought in automation to our factory in a span of a week or less than a week. So today, my factory is automation ready in less than a week's time, which makes it much of an exciting space to up my game and be in the same level playing field as a large player in the same domain. Now, what is it? That is for MSMEs and SMEs in the market. It's a low cost ownership tool which enables them to drive their automation and their factories to a net to the moon. The same thing is happening with a larger enterprise. For a larger enterprise, it's about sustaining their growth, sustaining their business, sustaining their order pipeline for a longer term, which means they bring in more technologies and adapt themselves to the larger global players. For MSME, it's about the local players, but bringing them to the same field. Larger players, it's about playing that field higher up to the lines of a global player.
Yes, sir. So, sir, one last question before we end this meeting. So, sir,
Sure.
how do you look at cobots market in the near future, and what are your company's projection? Like, what are their targets in the coming future?
So, as a global player, we are the pioneers of this technology. Universal Robots started this company way back in 2005 as a pioneer who invented this technology called collaborative robots and collaborative automation. Since then, it's been a great run for us. Today, as we speak, we've been consistently growing year on year, scaling up our business almost about 30-40% year on year. So we are a double-digit growth company. And last year, we did almost about 311 million USD business, which globally, and have clocked over 50,000 collaborative robots globally. which globally we have 50,000 collaborative robots running, and a significant share of that in India also, which means the coming years also, still the technology peak is happening in India. There will be manufacturing happening in India. Technology will start to get adopted in India, which means the trajectory for growth is yet to start. And the moment it starts, it's going to be a massive segment for us. We will continue to invest and grow in India. So we are seeing a very positive trend. We will be seeing an easily about 30-40% growth year on year the following years also.
Thank you, sir. It was nice talking to you, and you gave a lot of information and a lot of idea about the technology. So thank you for giving your time to TimesTech.
Thank you, Om. Pleasure talking to Times Group on this case, and look forward to more interaction.
Thank you, sir.